By the hoary language, good doctor. After all, we're here to talk about one of your books. The Sorcerer Supreme of the Marvel Universe recently made his cinematic debut, and whilst being one of Marvel's oldest superhero characters and a major part of their universe, he doesn't exactly have a huge library of classic stories, especially not from the modern era of comics. Since the 90s, Strange has more or less been a supporting character in other people's books, most notably as part of the New Avengers during the latter half of Brian Michael Bendis' run and all through Jonathan Hickman's run on the title. Lately, the character's been getting a big push once again with the launch of a new solo title by Jason Aaron and Chris Bachalo in the wake of Secret Wars back in 2015.
Secret Wars didn't end till 2016.
Oh, go back and bother Chris, you sweater to be.
I'm right though, aren't I?
Listen, Marvel ballsed up the scheduling and so the first wave of post-Secret War titles came out before Secret Wars ended. Okay? May I continue?
Alright.
Right, how was it? The character received another moment in the spotlight in 2005 in the form of a 5-issue miniseries from writer Brian K. Vaughan and artist Marcos Martin, Doctor Strange, The Oath. The Oath opens in the waiting room of a clinic belonging to Night Nurse, a doctor who provides confidential services to New York's superhero community. Iron Fist and Aranya, she's a spider character, long story, doesn't really matter. They're making small talk in the waiting room when in bursts Wong, bleeding and comatose Strange in his arms. Night Nurse rushes Strange into surgery to save him from a gunshot wound inflicted by a burglar, and she's aided and brought up to speed by Wong and Strange's own astral projection. Wong has terminal cancer, and Strange, determined to save the life of his friend and ally, and also manservant, I guess, it's kind of a weird relationship, a journey to another dimension to obtain a mystical cure known as Otkid's Elixir. However, it turns out that the elixir isn't just a cure for cancer, it's in fact the mythical panacea, the cure for all ills, and as such, there's a shadowy figure from the Doctor's past who wants to get their hands on it. But which of his foes is the employer of the mysterious burglar who shot him? What kind of handgun can pierce the Sorcerer Supreme's defences? And what is Night Nurse's name? Once patched up, Dr. Stephen Strange sets out to find the answer to these mysteries, and also to save his friend. Now obviously I think this is a great book. This show is called BigDamnLove after all. But I think one of the particularly great things about this book is that the fact that it doesn't rely on continuity. It stands very well on its own, and it's also a great introduction into the world of modern Doctor Strange. Now, the stints on the Avengers under Bendis and Hickman that I mentioned earlier, they're great stories, but they're very caught up in the wider goings on of the Marvel Universe at the time, very continuity heavy, and because they're Avengers books, of course, he's part of an ensemble team, so he doesn't always have the biggest part in each issue, and, well, you're not always getting your prescribed dose. Now, if you want a solo helping of Strange, there are plenty of stories from his early beginnings in the 60s right through to the 90s. A lot of that material, particularly the late 90s stuff, isn't properly collected, but you can find most of it, or a good chunk of it, on the digital services like Comixology, Marvel Digital Comics Unlimited. However, those older comics aren't always to the taste of modern readers, so bear that in mind. If you really want to start somewhere with Doctor Strange, this is where you should start. Night Nurse is our audience surrogate character here, and she's used perfectly as a way of providing backstory and context in a clean, efficient, and enjoyable manner. Now, the interplay between Strange and Wong and Night Nurse, it's witty, it's light, it keeps the story racing along at a really nice pace, and it helps to load you with enough meaning about these characters so you get more of a sense of who they are from more than the dialogue. Character work is really Brian K. Vaughan's greatest strength here. Although he often works with high concept ideas, and at this point he was certainly no stranger to superheroes, his best stuff is always very character driven. Runaways, Ex Machina, Why the Last Man, Saga, all that stuff, the best of his work does as the best of any genre work does. It uses the high concepts, the fantastical nature of the ideas and concepts within to highlight and illustrate the humanity of the characters on their journey. In this instance, The Oath is about Stephen Strange recognising how far he's come since his arrogance brought him to rock bottom before he trained the mystic arts. By pitting him against a character from his past as the villain, whilst also providing a fresher perspective in Night Nurse, it allows us to see how he reconciles his responsibilities as the Sorcerer Supreme with the very first oath he took, the Hippocratic Oath of the medical profession. This story also sees him struggle and come to terms with the truth that every doctor must face at some point or another. He can't save everyone, although he has to try. Having the character understand these things about himself through the lenses of people who've known him for years and are both fresh to him is a great way for the reader to get a really strong idea of who he is at his core. Of course, comics storytelling is nothing without art, and Marcos Martin delivers in spades here, aided by Alvaro Lopez on inks and Javier Rodriguez on colours. Martin's mastery of composition here helps give the whole comic a real sense of dynamism, and his characters tell the story with their whole bodies. There's a lot of stuff on hands as well as just faces, and it helps to really flesh the characters out and really reinforces the character work that Brian K. Vaughan's doing with the writing. Like many European pencilers who've come to American comics, Martin avoids the overly muscle-bound stereotype that's become synonymous with the superhero genre. Instead, his figures are fluid and lithe, flexible and lively. Suitably, Martin's style is very reminiscent of Steve Ditko, who is of course the comics legend who co-created Doctor Strange and penciled many of his adventures in Strange Tales in the 1960s. They share the tall, thin figures, the stretched faces and long, sinewy hands, the bizarre landscapes of colour without shape that dominate the magical realm. He uses perspective to twist the proportions of the characters, making even the heroes seem otherworldly. Strange, even. What? Now, Alvaro Lopez's inks really help Martin's strong line work pop and contrast really strongly with Javier Rodriguez's bold colours. Rodriguez really shows his versatility here. You go from moody, washed out New York streets, and then all of a sudden you've got bold block colours splashed all over scenes of magic and action. And then as the story climaxes, you get a balance between the two as you get a confrontation on a rainy rooftop. And this tale of magic and mysticism is all capped off with a very physical confrontation, and it's given real weight by Martin's pencils. The Oath is a great example of a standalone story giving readers a great jumping on point for a character. If you want to start somewhere with Doctor Strange, if a friend asks you what to pick up if they want to get into the character, this is where you should start. It defines the character for the modern era. Pick it up, read it, big damn love it. If you have any thoughts you want to share about Doctor Strange The Oath or Doctor Strange or anything really, then feel free to tweet us at BigDamnCast on Twitter.com, BigDamnContact@gmail.com if you want to email, and also there's the comments. Go wild. If you want to see more from me and Big Damn Chris, then please subscribe. You will get the podcast every Friday. You will get a new Big Damn Love every Sunday, and hopefully we'll be bringing you more things soon. Thanks for watching, guys.